Yo guys, welcome back to Hit Away Hurts. We are back with another episode, another day, back in my crib. So how's everyone doing tonight?
What is up? What is up, everyone? If you are new here, thanks for coming. If you're someone who's been here all the time, we love you as well. Today, we got an interesting topic that we did not steal from Gary Vee. Did not. I repeat, did not.
And let me just be clear on this. This topic, no one has talked about it. Even though Gary Vee has touched on it a bit, no one's ever talked about this. And
That's
we're
right.
coming straight for you.
That's it. We're the ones that touch on the shit that no one wants to touch on. We're the ones that talk about it first. So if you're here and you don't know, today we're going to be talking about the blind eyes theory. Now, the blind eyes theory is something that me and Mark kind of live by in a way, you know what I mean? Like the principles of the blind eyes theory have to do with being creative, being different, being unique. And we've spoken a lot about that on this podcast, but we've never really gone into detail about how practical it is for businesses and what is it actually all about, right? And, you know, the title of the podcast is Curiosity Led Us Here, because really it did. We would have
100%.
never started a podcast if we weren't curious about how it was. We would have never started our own business if we weren't curious about what it meant to be a business owner, right?
Yeah.
And so now that we're here and we're ready to share our story about how we got here.
Exactly, guys. Like when we started this, we didn't know anything about, like, we had a clear vision of what all this was, like social media, agencies, this, that. We had done minimal research, but once we went into it blindly, put ourselves in the deep end, we knew exactly what we were put into, because we started learning about this shit. We started going in deep, like finding new ways to better all this stuff, right? Because what it means when you're going, what the blind eye theory really means is going into something blindfolded, like going into a new industry that you have no idea, like you have no idea anything about it, and you just go on, learn as you go, and in a way you bring new things to that, like to the table.
And it's the value, like, you know, people always scared of going into something they don't know, right? And respectfully, I would be too, right? If someone asks you to climb a mountain, you never climbed a mountain before, you're going to be scared to, right? But no one really talks about the benefits of starting from zero. No one talks about getting in late. Like me and you, especially, we always speak about getting in early, doing it straight away, blah, blah, blah. But if you are late to the party and you feel like there's heaps of people who have done whatever you're trying to do before you, it's like, how do you benefit off that, right? And this is the blind eyes theory. Now, the blind eyes theory obviously has to do with going in blindfolded, going into something not knowing anything, and how you start to build a path for yourself that's different to everyone else. Because everyone else, for example, with us, everyone else would have a degree, right? Everyone else would have had, you know, this coach. Everyone else would have had this and this and that. We didn't. We started exactly how it is. But in practicality, like, it's about going into a whole thing that's already established, coming into an establishment and doing it completely different, always like crafting your own path. And the power of that is not only are you seen as unique, but you learn things that other people can't, right? For example, when I study law, like, you know, a lot of people, what I found is that they're really good at studying the books, really good at all that shit, but they're not really good at putting it into arguments. It's because they've never really gone in blind, scared to put it into an argument, right? It's the same with really any industry. There's so much more than just knowing things. There's also the application of it. And I think the application is what separates people from, you know, the really, really good and the really, really bad, right? Because you can just apply things and not understand them completely, or you can apply things and apply them how you understand it and convey your knowledge of something through the way you say it, right? Like the way I speak about blind eyes theory is because that's what we done. We didn't even know about it, right? Like, we've gone in blind, basically coming into media, and all we really had behind us was one like pretty small business, right? And like kind of just like a little bit of media here and there. We had to build that up, right? And so many digital marketers like applaud us, right? Because we do shit differently. Everything we do on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, that type of thing, like, we're doing it differently from everywhere else, right?
Gotta stand unique. Gotta be unique, you know.
100%. Like, we use guides, templates, sure, like we have to follow the algorithm sometimes, but we don't look at other people for our inspiration. We look within ourselves. We're willing to execute and fail and learn from it and make our own path through it. right? And so I really believe there's like a strength of not knowing anything when you're coming into something that people just don't know of. But if more people understand that knowing nothing is knowing something, then they'll be more motivated to start something, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, it
Like
does.
when you don't know anything, like you have that power of starting from zero. A lot of people who are so further in their industry, in their course, whatever the fuck they're doing, they wish they started from zero because they learned all the things on the way, right?
Yeah.
But when it's you, you can learn from people and learn what not to do rather than what to do.
100%. And let me give you like a good example on this.
Yeah.
I think it was last year or something. I was reading an article for psychology while doing an assignment, and they didn't talk about blind theory, but I think this relates to it because
Similar.
yeah, they said they had two groups, one an experimental group and a control group.
Right.
The experiment was to see which group would do better in basketball, right? I don't know if it was a sport. Let's say it was basketball.
Right.
So they had a group of people that had never played and another group of people that had never played, right?
Right.
So the people that like a collective or a group. Let me rephrase. They had a collective of people that didn't know anything about basketball or never played.
Yeah.
So they put that in they cut that in half, and they had some people actually practice basketball for 2 weeks it was, I think, and then the other half watch basketball. So they watched instead of playing.
Yeah.
The ones who were watching instead of practicing, you could say that they came in blindly because they didn't practice. They just watched. Just like the people who read the books instead of actually doing it.
Doing the shit, right?
Yeah. So when they came in to play the other team that have been practicing for 2 weeks, the results showed that you can tell because the team that had been watching bet the team that had practiced for 2 weeks.
They performed better.
Yeah. So it goes to show that when you put in the time to learn, the skill set doesn't have to be practice. It can be just like watching it, for example, watching other people do it, you will literally like become better.
And it's like, bro, like if we think about where life is now, there's almost social constraints and rules on everything, right? And I think good marketing and really like a lot of digital marketers agree with us that good marketing is breaking those rules. If you don't make someone mad by 12 o'clock in your marketing scheme, you're probably not marketing right. Yeah. Like you have to be able to trigger people. You have to be able for people to look at you and say, why the fuck did they make that decision? Right? Why the fuck are they doing things differently from what we're used to? Because that's the whole point of marketing. You're meant to be distant from everything else. The whole point of marketing isn't to look at a degree or look at, how other people are doing it and copying them exactly. It's meant to be your understanding of marketing. I really believe in life, there's like 4 different layers of knowledge, right? There's like the knowledge of like actually knowing it, and then there's applying it, and then there's knowing how you would apply it, right? And most people get stuck on the first or second, right? Because they're too scared to get into that unknown, to go in blind-eyed, right? And so when we're talking about the blind eye theory, we're talking about going straight into that 3rd level, skipping over level 1 and 2, and going straight into application and going straight into doing things how you feel is right. It doesn't mean shit to me that someone says to me that, you shouldn't be making your LinkedIn profile as a business page or as a personal page instead of a business page. It does not mean jack shit to me. And I'll tell you why. Because one, I had gotten more success making it as a personal page than I did as a business page. And when I went to go speak to all these LinkedIn marketers who have been doing it for years, they finally agreed with me because they realized that I had growth in 6 months, that they've been out their business page for 3-4 years, right? If you were in that room, you'd know what I'm talking about, right? That guy had 1,300 followers. I'm at 1,000 followers in 6 months. He had 1,300 followers in 3 years, 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So until I literally do it and fail and learn, I'm not going to fucking listen to anyone, right? And so that mindset, well, it can be bad in some circumstances. Like, I'm not going to say it's always good, but it's the circumstance of not knowing what you're doing is so much more important than knowing what you're doing and following the rules.
And let me just say this, when you go into it blindly, you're going to fail, and you're going to fail big because you literally don't know anything about the thing. But when you fail big, that's when you learn, and that's when your success is going to be even bigger. Like, look at us. We went in, we tried so many different things, didn't work out. But then we tried something else and that worked out, and that like made it work. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And
for sure.
till today, we're still failing and failing and failing.
Failing and learning. Yeah.
And I'll give you an example of that. It's with TikTok.
Yeah.
With TikTok, we're not doing that well with TikTok because we're still trying to figure out what like who the hell our audience is on TikTok, because TikTok is a whole other platform. It's not the same as the other platforms, right?
For sure.
So when we tell you guys to go on TikTok because it has the biggest growth, I'll just say this now. It's the algorithm has changed. But
it has.
like I'm saying, you just gotta go test it, take action, and when you put yourself in the deep end, you'll fail, and then that failure will lead to success.
And the funniest thing is, Mark, that like now thinking back to like mine and your business relationship, right? It's like you're the one who really pushes me to go into things that I don't feel comfortable doing, right? I'm like a bit of a perfectionist, and it's like one of my biggest flaws in everything when I'm studying, when I'm doing business and everything. Because if I don't feel like I know I'm going to succeed in it, because I have like guards around me, right? Like literally guards around me that I could fall back on, I won't do it, right? I won't do it. And so when you're telling me about Gary Vee fucking 3 years ago, until I literally sat there listening to him for fucking months upon months, I didn't agree with anything you said. I didn't even, bro, you'd message me, hey, go watch this Gary Vee video and I want to listen to you, right? And so going in blindsided is what curiosity is, right? Curiosity is what led us to get to this point. And so when people say, oh, I'm curious about, I want to run a business, but I also want to be a singer, but I also want to be an actress. Nothing's bad about that. There's nothing bad about being curious. Curiosity builds knowledge, 100%. Right? It becomes a problem when curiosity is guarded within rules or certain circumstances that you have to be in to run a business, right? How many people do you know that say, oh, I can't run a business, I'm not business mindseted? The fuck?
A lot. And like there's nothing wrong with that, because not everyone's made for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But is there a business mindset? I've met $1 million business owners, right? $1 million business. We meet them every day. Maybe after this, bro, if we could record clubhouse rooms, we'd actually show them on stream. We meet $1 million thing. Do they have the business mindset? No, I don't think they have a business mindset.
Let me just say this. If you guys want to know what happens in those clubhouse rooms, go check out the articles on LinkedIn, because Mark writes an article on everything that happens in there.
For sure. And so like I speak to all these millionaires, right? And I'm sitting there like, do these guys have a business mindset? Like, do they know about operations, fucking account management, blah, blah, blah? Did they know all that shit? No, they barely speak about that shit. You know what they speak about? They speak about like things like, oh, this is what I did differently. You know, this is what set me apart from the market. This is why my business is succeeding. This is why your business isn't succeeding, because you're sitting here asking for advice directly, right? So like, bro, when I was growing up, like I would think I'd have to ask people to get answers, right? My whole life, I'd ask so many fucking questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. I still do. But I know that the biggest answer you can get is going into it, right? When I sit here and tell you, should I quit uni or should I keep going with the business? Should I do this? Should I do that? Bro, who the fuck knows? Honestly, who the fuck knows? Right? And so like the key thing is that you're curious about it. That's your first step. The second step is the execution. And if you're not curious about something, then you're missing that, right? But if you are curious, it's a benefit. It's an advantage that you actually care to know about that thing. So starting from zero, that curiosity is so strong. The more you get into it, sometimes that curiosity can diminish, and so can your motivation, right? Like I honestly, when I played games professionally, when I started to get so good at a game, regardless of how much money I was earning, there was times where I was so good at games that I felt like I was just like doing it for the money at that point, you know? And the money wasn't even that good as well. So I was literally just sitting there doing it for the money because I just felt like, you know, like I know everything, like there's no point. But now when I'm like going into media, which is more of your type of niche, right? Which I'm kind of delving into, right? Yeah. Whereas in with Shisha Your Door, that was more my type of niche where you were delving into. We like swapped up, right? And so when I'm going into that, I'm so fucking curious, bro. Like I want to learn everything because I don't know anything. You know what I mean? And over time, like now that I know like the main stuff, like now we could say like we're at equal level. We know that there's so many levels to marketing that we didn't even know existed when we started. Right? Exactly. Had we not have been curious, had we not have gone in with this blind eye theory, we would have never known. And that's why the blind eye theory, I think, is something that heaps of people need to know.
And let's just like say, like, let me give him an example. Like with us, right? At the start, I was giving Mark videos. Watch this, learn this. You need to learn this, that. And then it came to a point where I was like, that's not gonna work like that. I told Mark, you gotta start just going on there and just learning on your own. Because when you learn on your own, you're gonna learn better, and it's just gonna motivate you more to learn on your own. You don't have
100.
someone behind you telling you do this, do that. You know what I mean?
100.
Like you just sometimes you just gotta get up, throw yourself into the deep end, and just go from there. And we've talked about this a lot of times, like in the past episodes.
Yeah.
Cause,
But
yeah, say it.
No, continue.
Oh, because I was gonna say, because if you don't do that, like you're just gonna be comfortable, feel comfortable. Like you said before, you always have guards around you because you always you only want to go into things you know you're gonna achieve in, right? But if you're always like that, you're gonna win small. You're not gonna win big, because things like this require big risks, but they also have big rewards at the end of it.
For sure. And we don't, like, this podcast isn't about throwing yourself in the deep end. It's like, because we have spoken about that. We don't want to do repeated episodes, even though we want to get the same message across. What we're trying to say in this podcast the most is that going in blind into something is beneficial. Honestly, it is. Like, because you're building your own path, like I said, but not only that, you're learning as you go. Right, rather than learning things in a certain order. You know how in school you're taught this, that. That means that every single topic leads to the second topic, leads to the third topic, and you're going to the ultimate goal. For example, for me, we learn about like the basics of court, then we learn the court structure, right? Then we learn about judges, and then we learn how to become a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Where in all of that do I have direction to choose where I want to go with my career? Nowhere, right? Nowhere. When I'm learning about media and I'm learning about NFTs and I'm learning about LinkedIn, I'm learning about Twitter, I'm learning about disruptive marketing, right? I'm learning about undercover marketing. How many different pathways do I have, right?
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for my curiosity and my ability to go into things blind-eyed and let go of my perfectionist state, then I would have never understood it that way, right? But for school and all that, like, it fucks your structure of your head, because you're so figured out to think that each thing leads to another, and it has to lead to another, right? You start your business, you make your first sale, you advertise on this, you advertise on that. Fuck no, man. Honestly, fuck no. Like, why should we follow people, especially in the media industry, especially? Like, it pisses me off when I see people starting off fresh, coming to us for advice and doing exactly what we do, right?
Yeah.
Like fair enough, you want to start. All right, respect, you started. But now it's time for you to do your own shit.
Yeah,
right?
Be different.
And be different. Like what we're doing with carousels on Instagram right now, yeah? Bro, I saw some 500K account copy us with carousels. I saw some 500K account using animation on their first slide of their carousel, right? And we were the ones that started that. No one was doing that at the time, right? No one. I checked every single fucking account.
No.
Yeah, and so like,
Bro, that's not the only thing.
Yeah,
I swear, every time I put out like a reel or like a post, bro, I'm not joking. I don't know if these people are thinking the same as me, because like a day later, there's 20 more posts on the exact same thing I posted.
Topic. Yeah,
you know what I mean? And like it's not wrong. Like
it's not wrong at all.
Taking ideas from someone, but make sure you do it your way. Like take that title, make your own thing on it, but not word for word, not like step by step the same as that person. Put your unique style into it.
100%. And let's be honest, when you start, well, honestly, no, I wish we didn't do this, but when we started, we had to look at what algorithms were saying. Had we have gone in and tested all of it, like we did test it eventually, but we had to start off something. We had to have a structure. We set ourselves a structure, right? 5 carousels, 2 reels, blah, 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 right? And we obviously got that of someone else, right? Like there's no way we would have figured that out that quickly, right? But even when we're doing it, we're still analyzing, we're still looking for where we could change
and right now, I've changed the whole thing. Now we're doing like a totally different thing to what
the thing. And so there's no harm in copying. I mean, to be honest, like most people copy when they start, but let
me just say one thing. And like with that's an okay copying, because you're just copying a structure of posting, a structure of posting, which is normal, because you're just testing out what this person is sharing that could work.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we're not saying like copying is bad, because sometimes you can learn of bigger people and seeing what they do. I mean, Gary Vee is my inspiration. I wouldn't say I'm copying him. Like, people always say, "Oh, bro, you're trying to be the next Gary Vee." No, I'm trying to be the next Mark Osby, bro. I'm not trying to be the next Gary Vee. Like, he taught me a lot, but I'm trying to be the next me, right? And bro, I know I'm gonna do shit differently. Doing this podcast is different. One media company, before they before they open their services, starts a podcast, right? I don't know any media companies that are doing that right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, we wanted to learn the way we did, and it benefited us in the end. Like, it honestly did. And it sets us apart when we're sitting in all these clubhouse rooms with millions of different other like media agencies who are all doing the same fucking shit. They have the same bios, bro, the same fucking clubhouse bios, the same bios on Instagram, just so much the same that, bro, I just feel like I'm in a fucking world of people who just follow rules because it worked in the past, especially in the media industry. Like, especially, there's so much creativity and nurture and things that you can learn about, right? Until you know what's good, right? Until you know what's good. And so if you're not experimenting, you can use things as guides, fine. But if you're not experimenting, then you're missing out on all that knowledge, and your curiosity will eventually diminish. And that's my honest opinion.
Yeah, bro. And like Gary Vee says, like, he said he went into it blindsided, but at the same time, right? He did his research. So we're not saying you go into, like, say, all right, you wake up, you're like, wow, I got a new business idea. I'm just gonna dive in. I'm gonna put all my money into it, and that's it, and see how that plays out. No, that's not what we're saying. Like, you gotta know what it's all about. You gotta do your research, take notes, this, that, and then you go in and start testing your ways, right? Because going in blindly doesn't mean just going in with no adequate research. It doesn't mean just putting all your eggs in the same basket. It means knowing what you're getting into and having an idea of how you can bring, like, how you can be beneficial to the audience in that market. You know what I mean? Like, to solve a problem for them.
In your own way.
Yeah.
In your own way. And on TikTok, like, it's the exact example, right? Like, I find myself so much, I'm like, bro, fuck, like, let me go look at what other social media managers are doing. Let me try copy it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where you start. It's hard. It's hard, bro. It's hard. So the blind eye theory is not something that everyone's professional at. And I'm not. So I think you are, Mark. I think you've gone into a lot of shit blindsided, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it takes a lot to master, and we're not saying that it's going to be 100%, and we're not saying completely be on one side or completely be on the other side. We're giving you the other side of the spectrum. We speak a lot about research. We speak a lot about doing a lot, executing. Now we're speaking about what it means to start off from zero, what it means to not know what's right, not knowing what's right. When you're like building your consciousness and your morals and your ethics, and you build it off experience rather than past knowledge, then you're going to build it in a way that's more exclusive to you. Like religion, just as an example, religion, like, I can explain Christianity because I took time to find my faith by myself. I read the Bible, I did everything, I listened to priests, but I also had to find it within myself. It's the same with anything. You have to find it within yourself, or else you don't have it. You just don't. You're just another copy in the page. And also, like, blind eye theory is a lot why experience over degrees are prioritized nowadays, right? People want to see shit that's new. People don't want to see the same person coming into the interview. Like, different people, same ideas, right? Like, what the fuck's the point at that point, you know?
Yeah. Look at it this way. Look at it this way. You go in and study one thing, and then you go out. Literally, all the same people doing that course are doing exactly the same thing. Like, nothing about what they're doing is unique, and that's why a lot of people go wrong. You know what I mean? And we're not putting down like degrees and shit like that, because we ourselves are undertaking uni like course and shit. But just know, if you're going down that road, know that you're going into something that's beneficial to you. You know what I mean?
For sure. And right is not always good. That's what I'm gonna say. Like, what people teach you is right. What people sit here and say you should do this in this way is not always good. Okay, because it can be right, but it doesn't have to, it's not necessarily good.
Just look at it this way. They've tried the right way, but they haven't tried the B way. So when you go and experiment with the B way, then you'll know that B can be better than A.
100%. And there's no other way of looking at it.
No, there's not.
For sure. And so as we come to the end of the episode, is there anything that you wanted to add?
I think I'm all good for it.
I think we copy. I think this one like was resonated with us a lot because we never thought we'd get applauded for the way we did things. We thought I honestly thought we were gonna get like pretty bagged out, and we do sometimes. But we always have enough to defend ourselves because we truly have a purpose for the reason we do things. All right, so guys, as you know, at the end of every single Hit It Where It Hurts episode, we shout out one small business owner that signed up through our sign up sheet, which will go in the chat in about 2 seconds. Today we have an old friend of mine, Sammy Kudzi. He's running Sammy Autos. Do you have the page up?
Yeah, it's on.
All right, just give me a sec. Let me put it up on mine. If you guys don't know, Sammy Autos is an advanced mobile mechanic. He comes to your house and he does your shit. Obviously, this is really good with Corona and stuff. He just got laid off recently for his job for refusing the vaccine. I don't want to be too strong on my opinion, but I think people getting fired for their vaccine choice is fucking retarded. So go show him some love for being pro-choice, pro-life, and pro-everything. Sammy Autos on Facebook. I don't know if he has an Instagram, but he has his number on there, so go check it out. And if you guys want your business shouted out, just like Sammy, just put your name in the chat and I'll DM you the sign-up sheet, and the sign-up sheet's also on our Facebook pages. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for coming to watch another episode of Hit It Where It Hurts. Do you got anything else to say?
No, that's it from me, guys. Make sure to check out all our clips on YouTube. We're coming out with shorter form clips now. So if you don't want to sit through the whole 30 minutes to an hour of an episode, you can go find smaller clips with the titles that you're interested in, which will make it easier for you guys. But yeah, that's it from me.
For sure. Thank you so much, guys, for coming to watch Hit It Where It Hurts. We're live every single night at 8:30. We have a few upcoming guests and a few announcements coming through. Make sure you guys don't miss out on that. Love you all.